Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
That's right, and she has her first stand-up special premiering on HBO Saturday night at 10 p.m.
I be knowing.
Amanda Seales
Lift every voice. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How do you
Congrats.
feel? How do you feel?
Honestly, I was like, I did this whole press tour, and I was like, I can't wait to go, to the Breakfast Club, hang with the fam.
Good. Well, listen, I just want to say I went to your screening, and when I tell you the audience was going crazy, like we were in the actual comedy show, people were singing along, people were jumping up out their seat. So congratulations, Amanda. That's huge. You're only the second Black woman to have a comedy special on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first?
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes. Okay,
10 years ago.
Well, I didn't get invited to the screening or the taping, so I did see it.
You were invited to the
No, I was
screening.
not invited.
And you are actually
here.
who this comedy special is intended for.
I was not invited.
Yes, you were.
No, I was not.
I specifically said to them, you need to invite everybody from the Breakfast Club.
Well, they just invited Charlamagne and Yee.
That's
and
not
Dramos.
true.
I don't think that's true.
I didn't get invited.
That's not true. I'm going to tell you what Envy's problem is, because we all got a screening ahead of time. Envy's like, I didn't get a screening, and then he found it.
Oh, so here we go.
Yeah,
Well, I
okay,
seen it.
so that's the truth.
I did watch it.
Oh, you did see
Yes,
it,
I
like
did.
the
But he
27
thought-
in Zenith?
I did see
Believe
it. I did.
it.
Yes, I did.
And
That's how he just learned the Negro national anthem.
I didn't. I did not. We actually sang it this morning. And
No. We sang the cadence of it.
They hummed
Because
it. You know how
after
you
lift
don't know
every
the
voice and
words?
sing, I get lost. So after lift every
had
voice
to
and sing, I just start ringing it.
rise.
I start winging it after that.
What?
Yeah, I never learned it. Where do you learn the national
In
Black
school.
anthem at?
Watching
people.
my special.
That is true.
You have 3 Black children. Get it
I'm
together.
going to teach them. Yeah, I'm going to teach them after I learn it.
Yeah,
Yes.
get on it. Also, there's Google now, so there's
That is
no
true.
excuse.
That is true.
So tell us about the special. How did the special come about?
So Jesse Collins, who is known for producing Real Husbands of Hollywood, he produces Soul Train Awards, BET Awards. He produced the New Edition movie on BET. He is a homie of mine. We met in LA and we just became cool. And he was in a meeting at HBO and they were just talking about just different comics that are doing stuff. And he mentioned me and was like, yo, you should look at Amanda Seales. And they were like, oh, we don't know her. He's like, she's on the network. Because, different departments don't really talk to each other. So the specials department didn't really know about that I was on Insecure. And so then they just started, showing interest. And then Charla put in a word as well, just yeah, I rock with her, she's dope. And then they start coming to your shows, right? And so last time I was here was Caroline's. Was it a year ago?
Was it a
No,
year
I
ago?
was here since then.
You was there for some. Oh, you was there for Smart Funny and Black.
I was here for
Tour.
Smart Funny and Black Tour, yes. So like a year ago when I was here, I was promoting when I was doing Caroline's in New York. And so they came to those shows. And I remember them telling my agent, yo, it was like church. We never saw people stand in the middle of a show. And so that was I think what started their interest, just seeing that my audience was so tapped in already to the material and to the energy. And over the course of the year, you just keep sending, because they want to make sure it's not a fluke.
Right.
So you got to keep sending them, your hour when you do it in Phoenix, when you do it in Philly. They got to see that everywhere you go, you can still harness the dopeness. And long story short, and then that was that. They eventually, they came to Smart Funny and Black, and when the person who's in charge came to Smart Funny and Black, she was like, Amanda, and I was like, oh, the person who won't buy my special. And she was like, oh my God, Amanda, we're buying it.
Dope.
And, but to be honest though, I feel like if I hadn't kept it 100 with her, I may have still been in a holding pattern. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's we get taught so much that we have to just wait for things to be given to us.
Word.
And sometimes it's it's been a minute. I've already shown improved. Just let me know or let me know.
Because it's not like you was waiting on the special. You was going to do it yourself regardless.
I was going to do it myself.
Yeah.
I'd already talked to Jesse, and he was already like, yo, let's figure it out. Which, honestly, I'm really, thankful for, because it's so hard to come up with new ways to create independent streams of income in this business, especially because a lot of people are so scared to, take a chance or, put up their money or put up their time.
People do not want to invest their own money, and you have to.
It's literally the only way.
If you want other people to invest in you, you have to invest in yourself.
You gotta spend money to make money. So I really like appreciate that. But also I feel like because it was very clear that not only did I want to do it by myself, but I could, I think it sent a stronger message in saying like,
Don't make me call Netflix.
well, that's
And truth be told,
they didn't think I could do an hour.
no
So,
creative needs any network nowadays. Like, it's too many platforms to be heard.
I mean, I think it's not that you even need a network as much as you need a base.
That's
You
it.
know, you need a fan base. We've seen it happen in music so many times. There's no reason why it couldn't happen in comedy. We've seen it happen, with like Instagram comedians who are creating a base out of their videos and then they start doing live stuff. So there's no reason why, it couldn't happen with myself. But I say all of that to say I am appreciative that I did not have to spend my own money. And, and for all intents and purposes, HBO is a very strong brand.
Yes.
And, it does say something when a strong brand that you respect gets behind you and says, we respect your work. I mean, winter is coming. And before that, I will be here.
Why are stand-up specials still important, and why is your special truly a special and not just a regular hour of comedy?
I think specials are still important because, comedy as an art form, and Chris Rock has spoken to this, comedy as an art form is basically like one of the last bastions of unfiltered truth because, like, comedians are not connected to a brand or a network or a corporation that is steering what they're saying. Even musicians have to end up having to, like, consider what their label or what their squad or what their team wants them to say. Comedians, for all intents and purposes, are really just independent contractors that go on stage and speak honestly. And at a time when we are being just constantly riddled with ignorance, with an administration that gives no damns about information or about people, and we just have a lot of dissemination of false truths. You want there to be still this place where you can get like solid honesty, even if you don't agree with it, it's still coming from an honest place. And I feel like stand-up as a pure art form is one of the rare, like, examples of something that doesn't need to quote unquote be innovated.
Ideally, though, because sometimes I feel like now people are even looking at what comics are saying and having issues with jokes that they make too.
I think there's like an accessibility issue in general right now with our world, right? Because social media gives everybody this feeling like they can just enter the conversation, attack, and they don't know all the information. They don't know the context. A lot of times, like, people are responding to something that's only a 2-minute thing and like having 2 hour. I mean, I've had
never
so
seen you
many
before.
and never seen, and then they feel like they have like the full breadth of information to form this opinion, and then they think their opinion is fact. And so with stand-up, I've heard a lot of comedians who are like, it's so hard to be funny now.
Right. Even Chris Rock's like, I'm not hosting the Oscars because I don't even want to have people taking everything apart that I do and say.
I mean, I think that's a different space, right? The Oscars and the Golden Globes and stuff, because I think that you're not there to be funny. Like, even when you host, like, the Miss Black and Gold pageant at Syracuse University, which I have done. Like,
I'm like, well, that's very specific.
Like, they're there for you to keep the show going, but like, they ain't really there for you to crack jokes. Like, that's not really what you're there for, So I think like when Ricky Gervais would do Golden Globes and just be cracking on everybody, folks felt away.
Right.
But I mean, he was being funny. You brought me here to be funny. You just didn't appreciate that you would be the butt of the joke. I think that's funny. I think that's interesting, but I'm not trying to make people the butt of the joke unless they are the joke, unless they are a joke, and then I'm going to clown you.
Now, how did you prepare for this special? Was it already written? Was it things you've been writing for years, or how did you go about this one?
Well, this is my first special, so I didn't have like a process. I didn't really know, how I wanted to go about things. Stan Lathan directed it. Stan Lathan, directed Beat Street. Stan Lathan created Def Comedy Jam. Def Poetry Jam, which I did with him when I was in college in 2001. And what's funny is that we shot Def Poetry Jam in the same place where we shot my special. So it was very like, personal. But Stan really helped me to figure out my process because I just kind of was flying blind and just kind of guessing like how I'm supposed to go about this. And I thought, okay, I'm going to like be very, very sharp and very specific, and I'm going to get very surgical with it. And he was like, nah, spread your wings. Like, but over the course of a year, I had So basically, when I was doing Caroline's, I did 5 shows, and I did a different hour every show.
Really?
So you did a different 2 hours on some nights. I saw you do like 90 something minutes.
That's a hard thing to do.
You changed it up. You changed your setup every time.
Yeah, like I basically, if you think, like, let's just say for argument's sake, like there's 6 bits in an hour, I would have 12 bits and like rotate, you know, and so different formulas. And then there'd be times where like I'm doing crowd work and that's going to take up time too. And then you find stuff in that. And when I was at Caroline, something I'll do sometimes, especially if I'm on the road on the late show, if I finish like my whole hour and folks are still like in it, I'll just be like, okay, throw out some stuff and I'll riff. And that's how I find new material too, because I don't write. Like I'm a terrible like joke writer when I sit down to put pen to paper. I'm better coming off top and off the dome. So that's a great way for me to find new material. So I would do that for like the first half of the year. But once it started becoming apparent that I was going to do a special, I was like, okay, let me start deciding what I want to put in this. And so I have a lot of stuff left over that I'm now like putting back on stage. But I just also knew that I wanted the special to be specifically like loved and appreciated and honored by Black women specifically.
Yes.
So then that became the kind of like overhead of what made it and didn't.
I'm sitting next to Michaela, Angela Davis, and Beverly Bond at the screening, and when I tell you they was standing up, screaming, cheering, talking to the screen, that's the kind of special it is where you end up talking to the screen. Paris is sitting with me, and she's like, yes, oh my God, girl, yes, oh, that happened to me, yes, that's me, because it's a lot of things that have happened to us that we watch, and even men, certain things y'all won't be able to relate to, like how our period surprises us.
Just sit there and clap
every
and
single
cheer.
month.
Okay, that's all you got to do.
And I was checking
you learn.
out.
As a man, you learn of things.
That's what you had said. You were
Yes.
like, yo,
It's a learning experience.
I got put on to some stuff
Yes.
I did not know about.
I'll
Absolutely.
definitely keep long receipts at the house just in case. Just in
I've
case.
never used a receipt, but you got to watch the special to see what we're talking about.
You know, I be knowing you speak on how like you sometimes have to explain your Blackness to people.
Yes.
Do you feel like we have to explain ourselves to white people?
So at my taping, one of my friends from high school, who's white, was at the taping, and he was talking to my mom, and my mom was like, oh, you know, Charlamagne, Charlamagne is here, Charlamagne knows my daughter, knows mans, and he was like, oh, I don't know Charlamagne. And like at that moment, Charlotte walks by, and my mom was like, Charlamagne, tell Amanda, friend Corey, tell him what you do. And Charlotte was like, I don't tell no white man what I do.
Whoa.
I can't explain myself to white people. I'm
This
sorry.
must have been after the special.
Yo,
that he said.
exactly.
least they
And
didn't call him a cracker.
my friend's face became your color. Like, I don't think he's still recovered. Like,
Goodness gracious.
oh
I didn't
man.
mean it in a disrespectful way.
Yes, you did.
I just don't feel comfortable
But I
explaining
had the
myself.
same situation with Larry King. I was
Yeah.
on Larry King, and he was like, I was like, why haven't you watched the special? He's like, I don't watch special. I don't watch things before I interview about them. And I was like, what
What?
is that?
But
And
that is his thing. He always says that he doesn't like prepare for interviews. He just
that's not a shtick. It's just unpreparedness.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's
you
what
know,
he says. He said that up here. I was like, really?
that's
'Cause
I don't know. Stop. Like I just
disrespectful.
thank you. And he was like, no, because you got to sell it to me. You got to sell it. And I was like, I ain't selling nothing to a white man.
That's what you told him?
Yeah, and I'm making sure to say it here just in case they cut it.
Wow.
It's like, we not doing that.
What was his response? What was his response when he said he said nothing to a white man?
He was like, I feel like at that moment he realized this is a different interview than I expected.
Should have watched the special.
Should have watched the special. He was like, you are a very good interview. Intriguing. And so
So it's not really explanations to them. It's more of this is us.
this
and
is
you
my
should
thing.
learn.
This special is not like a demonstration. I mean, and I really feel like there's been times where I see people be like, as Black people, it is our responsibility that we have to educate white people, or else how can we expect things to change? And I'm just like, no, it's your choice. It's your choice. I do not feel it is our responsibility. You have to remember, we live in a nation where it was literally deemed criminal for us to be educated. So for us to now then be expected to educate the offspring of those whose ancestors were imprisoning us, killing us, maiming us, raping us for becoming educated is absolutely ridiculous. Like that, you cannot just excuse history and try and make that make sense. It is your choice. If you feel like that's your role, go for it. But don't look at me. I remember when Gaga had done that tweet where she was like, Black people. Black people, what can us non-racist whites do to affect racism? I'm paraphrasing, but that was essentially it. And I was like, here, like Google something. Why are you asking us to like put you on game? And people went berserk. Oh my gosh. People were like, Amanda Seales is such a mean person. Black people, this is why we can't have nothing nice. Rah, rah, rah. And I'm just like, why do we like fight for scraps? I want us to want more. I want us to want better. And I want us to want to love each other. I feel like I do. At this point, I end up having to explain my blackness to other black people. Like, that's been going on in my comments crazy. You know, like, you light skinned, you ain't really black.
Oh my God.
Like, your mother's from Grenada, you ain't really black.
That
you know?
sounds so crazy.
You're not the descendant of slaves from American chattel slavery. You're not really black, which is false. My father is Black American. His grandparents are descendants. They were descendants of Arkansas slaves. But even if I wasn't, like, they're saying this while they have like red, black, and green hearts, you know, or RBG in their profile. I'm like, do you know where that came from? That came from Marcus Garvey, the creator of the UNIA and the Black Star Line.
Who was Jamaican?
Who was full Jamaican.
Yes.
Wearing an admiral's hat. You know what I'm saying? Which is some Jamaican shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to just be out here with this and you going to rock with it. And so I feel like that has become a whole trope that, I mean, the amount of times my friend's mother, like my good friend's mother the other day was like arguing with her that I was mixed. And it's not like there's anything wrong with that. It's just not the case. And I don't know when we started all of a sudden deciding that like lighter skinned black folks have to have a white parent. I mean, we have seen, I mean, I don't know when that
People will argue that I'm not black because I'm half Chinese and half black, and they'll
You're
be like,
Blackanese.
but you're not black. And I'm like, yes, I am. My whole life, I've always identified myself as a black woman. I'm black.
But I be trying to figure out where it comes from with Amanda because you don't have any white parents.
Zero. There's only two.
I'm like, huh?
They just look at her
People
and they
assume 'cause she's
assume that.
light-skinned.
They assume that.
Or like you tell everybody I'm Dominican. I'm not Dominican.
No, the debate is out.
But you know what
I
made it
don't know.
crazy is that he went to the Dominican Republic for that. And was like, I'm going home. He posted that.
I did not say I'm going home. I said when I went to Africa, I said I'm going home. Guys,
Are you happy this week?
Why are you asking me that?
I'm just
are you not
asking.
happy?
What are you trying to say? Some weeks she's happy, some weeks she's
No,
not.
Amanda's always Amanda. I'm
Why
just
you
saying,
asking?
I want to know, are you enjoying the moment? This is a celebration.
Why would he ask that?
Because he knows me. I mean, happy is a strong word.
Oh boy.
You know me too. All y'all niggas know me.
You should be happy. This is
I
a
know,
great
but
sign.
it's like a weird.
All your cancer starts
Y'all gonna
kicking
make me
in.
cry on
You
here.
can't
Yeah.
tell her how she should be feeling.
No, I asked her. I didn't tell her. I
It's
asked
like
her.
you're not. Oh, I am gonna cry.
You're
Go
a
ahead,
cancer.
girl.
It's
Let it out.
okay.
You on the Breakfast Club with your family.
No, it's true.
Those are tears of joy.
Yes.
So you're happy.
It's true. It's not. It does feel weird being here with you.
Can we get her some tissue?
Get her some tissue, Dan.
I haven't been
On her
emotional.
beards.
There you go. Boom.
Here we go. Here's some tissue.
There's the
for
tissue
you.
right there to your left.
I haven't been emotional till like this second. Fuck you, nigga. Damn. No, because
It's
I
just-
just remember being here and being so lost. And just like really lost, like not knowing how I was gonna like figure this all out and make it make sense. And so to just like be at a place where it does make sense and where like I don't. Yes, I'm happy.
Yay.
Yay.
We happy for you
We're
too.
happy for you.
I'm happy.
I just think about the whole entire look, me and Envy, we knew you as serious, and that was
Ugh.
yeah.
It's
No
just
word for that, just
You
a
had
noise.
a rocky road all the way through.
Like
MTV
really,
too.
that's why. But that's why, like when
Rocky
I see
road,
people
and you fought
come
through it.
for me about stuff like you only getting put on because you light skinned.
No
Like
way.
You're like, I was light skinned before. I'd have
No
been
way.
put on in.
I'm like, yo, like I'd rather you say you got put on from sucking dick, like which I
Why would you
didn't.
rather
Jesus.
Because that seems more because that like
gracious.
at least because
I mean, I don't know if that's
God damn.
that makes
Amanda.
that seems more practical. Like in the game we're in, like I mean, you know, for what it's worth,
Well,
I
how many
just
people have sucked dick that good that they really got an HBO?
I feel like you just
special?
suck the right dick. You know, it's
I don't know.
it's picky.
Charlamagne, who dick did you say?
But no, but not an HBO special. And that's the thing. It's like
that's not gonna happen.
what I really hope is like you watch the special and at the very least you're like, yo, I don't like her, but she does what she does.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what it really ends up being. It's like, yo, respect the craft. You know, like you can say whatever you want about me, but anybody who knows me will tell you, like, no, Amanda commits to anything that she's doing, and I aspire to inspire folks to do the same. You can pursue a multitude of roads and of artistic crafts, etc. But commit to it. Don't be a dabbler. So many young folk these days be dabbling. Like, I'm gonna just do this, I'm gonna do that.
And they want it to happen right away.
Yes.
They want it to be successful
It's
because
a process.
you've always created your own lane too. If it's not
Right.
out there for you, you're like, I got this show I'm doing. I got this series I want to do. I'm
But-
doing my own stand-up. Like,
But let me
she's
say-
done everything, and she's done everything.
But let me say, it's not, you can't just do it yourself. I could have been creating all that stuff, but if people like y'all didn't support it, what's it doing? So like you have a role also to be supporters of people who are creating their own lanes. And I was very fortunate that I had enough people around me who respected and like saw like, yo, like this is someone creating their let me show up. You know what I mean? Let me just show up. Let me try and make time, because we all see, if you're really in this game, how hard it is to create your own lane.
Absolutely.
And I was not born with a silver spoon. Like, I never had money like that. Like, it was always just like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. To the point where the most insecure place I'm at right now is simply about just like growing a business in a real way and not a DIY way. I've been DIY for so long that once it starts being official, like you have to reassess, like, okay, we need to have, a manual and,
Well, do you trust people? Do you trust people? That was my main problem. I didn't trust people to put them in position to work. So I did everything myself, and you burn yourself out.
You burn yourself out. I mean, it's taken time, but you bring people around that you've known for a while.
Right.
And, that was actually, me and Charlotte had a conversation about just like his setup. And he was like, everyone around me I've basically like known. And I ended up considering that model to be like, okay, at least in these positions I need right now, I need to find people I've known, because I just didn't feel the same way. And it wasn't even like it's coming from nowhere. You have that feeling because you've seen someone that you gave a task to,
Yes.
or you gave a
And they didn't
responsibility to,
execute.
and they didn't execute it. And then you're out there and you're mad at yourself because you're like, you know what? I probably could have just done it myself.
But yeah, you also have a responsibility to treat people who work for you well.
Of course.
Because a lot of times we don't show our gratitude or our appreciation. We concentrate on like, this didn't work out right, but not all the great things and all the hard work that they put in. Because I feel like sometimes, people expect people to do things for them and they don't want to compensate them properly. They don't want to give them credit. I've seen that happen, with people as well. So it's like a two-way street. Like, they have to live up to their responsibilities. We have to let them know what it is that we need and give them those responsibilities, because sometimes we do try to keep things to ourselves and not even allow someone to grow into a role that they could be doing.
You've never had a problem doing that, though. Like, you paid me for stuff I did in your basement. I'm like, why are you paying me this?
No, I mean, because
That sounds crazy.
But you had Charlamagne turning tricks in your basement.
Oh, my God.
Okay,
that
Madam
did sound wild.
Goodness gracious.
You used to do sketches in the basement in Harlem.
Yes, listen, I used to have a whole show.
You took her money, Charlamagne?
I didn't know why I'm like, why are
I
they
can't
sending me a
believe you
check?
took her money,
because
didn't
I
want
was
it.
like, I'm trying to figure it out. I just try and be as upstanding, forthright as possible. And like, even like Smart, Funny, and Black. Like, Smart, Funny, and Black is growing. Like, this year, it's really about getting a sponsor or 2 or 3 for Smart, Funny, and Black, so that we can elevate our compensation, so that we can be paying folks for coming on the show, so we can have like an LED screen and just a better experience for our audience. So you can go to smartfunnyandblack.com and find out more about what I'm talking about. But it's my live Black pop culture, music, and comedy game show. And it's like, I never thought that would blow up. I never thought that stand-up, but I did think that Smart, Funny, and Black would get a look before it's stand-up. So I'm actually like surprised that it's turned out this way, but I couldn't be happier, because I feel like stand-up has allowed me to show like my true voice, like 100%. And
I still think you're just scratching the surface of as far as the industry is concerned, you're just scratching the surface of showing how creative you actually are, though. Because
I think about all the things
I think
you
about the
just
sketches
DJs.
you create and all of that good stuff.
She's an artist, like a real paint.
That's what I'm saying. Like a man that
canvas
can
artist.
sing. Are
Well,
you a real Renaissance woman
can
in a
rap,
lot of
you can
different
sing.
ways?
Oh, before I leave, I got the beat for Niggas Got Me Fucked Up.
Really?
That's a real song.
So-
People
You
know
did that on the special and
It's
the
gonna be-
whole crowd sang it back. I was like, shit.
It's gonna be a nice summer, y'all. It's gonna be a nice summer. No, I mean, in June, actually, we're doing a residency at the Kennedy Center. Where I'm doing 3 shows for 3 nights. The first night, I'm doing Mo Better Woo, which is my musical I created where I turned Wu-Tang records into jazz. And the second night, I'm doing Smart, Funny, and Black. The third night, I'm doing stand-up. We have tickets on sale right now for my show in Boston at the Wilbur on February 23rd. And I'm going to be announcing a gang of tour dates, y'all, on Monday. A gang of tour dates. So
Smart, Funny, and Black or just stand-up in
for
general?
stand-up in general.
Wow.
And we're moving Smart, Funny, and Black to a bigger venue in LA, and then we'll be, of course, going on tour later in the year for Smart, Funny, and Black. But, it's just,
So you got a whole new hour now?
I mean, I'm getting there. I mean,
Gotcha.
you start with, I have stuff that was funny before that's still funny now. It's not like music where you come and do a hit record, and then you're like, ta-da, you can't keep doing the same joke.
Right, now it's in the special. Now I can't even. You have to retire those?
I mean, every comic has different rules, but I do feel like, yeah.
Because some people ask for certain jokes. They'd be like, do that joke you did on the special.
And which is like, okay, fine. I'll do it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. But which is, I always say it's so wild because when I was doing music, I really wanted everyone to learn my lyrics. That's what you want. And then now it's like people know my lyrics as a comic, and so that's a whole other experience. But
I got to ask this. Being that your comedy is based on real life experiences, how many people have been like, was that about me? Was that my mattress on the floor that
they
you were talking
already
about?
know.
Yeah, they would know. If their mattress on the floor,
They already know. And I have a part in the special where I say like the ways that you can get struck from a vagina. And each of those scenarios are true scenarios. They all know who they are. The first one is somebody all of y'all know.
Uh-oh.
So just know that. Somebody all of y'all know.
Shots fired.
Do they call you?
Nah. They don't. They know better.
Ain't no old guys calling back now.
Are they black?
Because you hot out here.
No, now it's new. Now it's like DMs with emojis. Like a googly eye or a flames. And
Flames.
you
You hit anybody back?
Yeah, because I'm usually curious sometimes. But the one person that I actually got excited about, like, who had dropped in my DMs, I basically, like, manifested 2 years ago. I was like, this person is going to eventually fall into my DMs. And, he did, we had a conversation. And I talk about this on my podcast, Small Doses. Like, within the first conversation, he's like, when are you coming to Boston? And I was like, well, I'll be there February 23rd.
Well, we know he's from Boston
for
now.
my
Okay,
show.
we know he's from Boston.
And he was like,
clue.
no, I need to see you before that. Easy, B. Like,
Oh, easy B.
easy, B.
Benzino.
Because, but yo, real rap, old Amanda would have felt like honored by that. Old Amanda would have been like, he want to see me so quick, like, oh my gosh. Like, new Amanda with the wisdom and the security of self is like, why is a man I ain't never met before so pressed off of one conversation for me to come see him? Furthermore, did not ask about my availability. Furthermore, did not offer to pay my way. None of these things. It was just like, I need to see. Like, what is this?
Well, I can't call it pressed only because
It is
Nah, he's
pressed.
pressed, bro.
But no,
It's
listen, I'm gonna
pressed.
tell you
He's
why.
pressed,
You're
bro.
the same person who didn't understand why it was toxic for Offset to show up on stage.
Oh no, you're right. No, I didn't. I asked you, but we'll get to that. Now,
Oh, we got to talk about that.
But the
too.
thing is, he watches you all the time. So he probably sees you all the time. He feels like he knows you. So even though that's your
From one
first conversation, in his mind, he's like, no, I feel like I know her a lot. So I really want to see
Was
her.
it only a DM conversation or did y'all even talk?
So we started on DM earlier that day, and then we got on the phone. And like, slow your roll, player. Like, get out of here.
He's
like,
pressed. That's pressed.
That's pressed.
That's pressed.
And then what ends up happening is because, listen, y'all got to do background checks, okay? I'm not necessarily saying like filing, background checks like where you're looking for if a nigga got arrested. No. Ask around.
Right.
Ask around. Like, there has to be a network. And honestly, like, men do the same. Like, everybody. Like, you got to, because people are wild out here. People are wild. Do background checks. I was telling my right-hand homegirl about it, and who works for Smart, Funny, and Black, and she was like, I think he hollered at my homegirl. She texts her homegirl, yo, you remember this dude? What's his story? Her homegirl literally replies, asshole. I'm like, more tea, please.
Did she put hashtag
Spill
asshole?
it. No, more tea. And she said, yo, we talked a couple times on the phone, on FaceTime. She lives in New Orleans. He had to come out here for work. He said, let's get up, let's meet in person. They'd never met before. And she said that when she got to his hotel room so that they could meet to then go eat dinner, he opened the door butt-ass naked.
Whoa.
Every
That's
woman in this room
disgusting.
went,
Now that's a little pressed.
That's a lot. Damn.
That's pressed.
He opened
That's
the
the
door
title. He felt like a
naked.
title. I'm going to get that. Damn.
so he opened the door, and she was like, nigga, what the hell? And she said that he tried to make her feel like she was tripping and was like, yo, I was just taking a nap. Like, why are you wilding right now? And she was like, yo, get out of here, boy.
Like, what in the
Like, get
Harvey
out.
Weinstein?
Then
Yeah, that
she
was
left. Then she left, and I like gave a little bit more information on this person in my podcast. I have had 4 women hit me and be like, this is who you're talking about.
Damn.
They say him by name, and they're like, because I was like, oh, that's a flag that I can't let ride. And I texted him, and I said, it's a small world. He didn't hit me back for 2 days. And when he didn't hit me back the second day, I was like, let me just tell you something. Let me just tell you something. You could be all the Rhodes Scholars, and you could have all the scrubs. But when you are opening the door butt-ass naked to women who have not encouraged that behavior, it makes you no better than a nigga jacking his dick on the 2 train to Harlem.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ.
Stop the predatory behavior. Stay up. And anybody who knows me knows that when I say stay up, you're dead.
Damn.
You have
Stay
died.
up, but I really want you to die.
Die.
All right? I
You
want
don't
to
exist.
die.
You don't exist to me anymore. And I block because it's not a discussion. But yo, hella women
No, that's wild.
hit me and were like, you were absolutely correct about this person. You'd be very lucky that you dodged the bullet.
Damn.
So now that we know the most inappropriate way to holler at a woman, what's the appropriate way? Because you do discuss that in the special.
Just be genuine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't understand why. I do understand because patriarchy makes dudes feel like they got to do like all type of craziness. And it's like, just talk.
Right.
What profession was
We
that
were
young man
discussing
in?
this.
He baiting you. See,
Is he-
don't do it.
Is he patriotic?
I mean, you
Don't
can,
give
you
no
can.
context
I'm
clues.
just curious. Is he patriotic? You know, is he a
No, but you can
fully
discern from the text that I
clover?
sent what he does.
Yeah, you said he's a scholar.
When you listen back, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna tell you off the air. Obviously,
yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
come on, Rashawn.
Out, bro.
Everyone to make sure he don't go see him.
I know. Nah, I feel like you might know who he is though.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, he had a little press moment. So yeah, y'all probably know. You may know who he is. That's how I found out who he is because he had like a little press moment.
Really?
Yeah, but the reality though is that you don't have to pull your dick out. You know, you really just don't like.
I'm about to say,
How
I
what?
can't
I was gonna
believe-
say-
I'm about to say, I
What?
can't believe we got to tell people that in 2019, but no, like we do.
Clearly you do.
Yeah.
1,000%. I
Yeah.
saw a tweet the other day that said the bar has become don't pull your dick out and don't act like a Nazi, and still men are like that's not fair.
Right.
Like, so, but I also feel like as women, we have to really put our foot down about what we're going to accept. And a lot of that comes from our own self-worth and, you know, continuing to grow our self-care, continuing to love ourselves. And that's what I wanted this special to help do, you know, at least like just by example, say like, yo, our voices matter, our experiences matter. Like these are microaggressions that I referenced in the special that don't get talked about, but that we're all dealing with on a regular basis and that we be stressed as hell about. And, you know, a lot of times Black women just feel like silenced by the fact that our stories aren't getting the same type of burn. You know, when we see all these videos of Black women having to mollywop their way out of fuck shit with no help from anybody else, we're clearly not making it up. I mean, people on this press tour have been asking me about R. Kelly, and I don't understand. I legit don't understand.
Understand what? Why people still want to rock with R. Kelly?
Or why they want to blame everybody else but R. Kelly for what R. Kelly as a grown man
R.
did.
Kelly's a grown man.
There's
nobody else held accountable except for R. Kelly.
And why are we people?
R. Kelly? No.
No, because God protects me. Keeps me out of certain situations. It's just been, I don't know about y'all, but it's been sad for me to see the response. And what are y'all who are defending him? What are you really defending? Let's get to the root. What are you really defending? Are you defending your own villainy? Are you defending the denial of your own victimhood? Are you defending your own willful ignorance at this point? And it's just I'm going to double down on the fact that I didn't care before and I'm going to still not care.
That's what I think it is.
Are you defending a song catalog that you love?
And even that,
I don't think the catalog that fire, though.
It's not.
I don't.
There's records, that
he got a dope catalog, but I
haven't heard that catalog in years, and I don't miss it.
And people act like we're trying to tear down a black man, but what about the black women whose lives were completely affected forever by someone?
And that's what they don't care about. They don't care about that. They're literally the buck stops. You're but what about? And they're no, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody's trying to tear down a black man. He has torn himself down.
Himself.
Why? What is this narrative? I mean, it's I'm not educating white folks on foolishness, but I be feeling do I need to sit down with every black person that feels this way and have a conversation and see if I can turn something? Because I feel like if you are okay with this, then there's other things that you're letting happen that are deleterious to yourself and your family and this community, etc. And so who's checking? Who's checking y'all? I'm flabbergasted.
As a comedian, everybody used to make R. Kelly jokes. You clown the shit out of R. Kelly back in the day. As a comedian, is he off limits now because of we know that it affected the victims? Because we talked to Lisa Van Allen and she was it was frustrating to hear people joke on him because it felt like people weren't taking it serious. And she said people were really getting peed on.
Well, I think it's about how you joke.
Right. Is it about him or is it about the victims?
Yeah.
We always thought it was about him, though.
Right.
No, but for instance, I'll write
though.
a joke about police brutality that doesn't undermine the terribleness of police brutality. I like to think that, a lot of times jokes end up just being the entryway to being gotcha, bitch. You didn't think I was going to drop that. So I think that's what it is. But we never did the gotcha, bitch part. We would just make the joke and then it's haha, that's crazy. But then it's no, it really happened. But they talk about this in the documentary about how he was so larger than life that you almost forget he real. You would almost forget that no, this isn't just a stage show. There was a video of him. And at this point now, I'm you can't be vague. You can't be vague if you're talking about him. I don't want to hear any type of vagueness. I don't want to see emojis. I want to see you legit be this is not cool.
Right.
I saw Ebro post the video of him in Africa talking wild.
Right. About the girls in the audience.
About what? Say what?
He was singing a song
when
about
he was
getting
singing
the shots
song do you have your shots? Do you have your papers? Come and live with me. Your boy R. Kelly or something like that. And now that you know the true ramifications of what it means to come and be with R. Kelly, you understand that no, that wasn't a little fun joke he was doing. He was literally hypnotizing them, piping them.
That's why I never liked the term Pied Piper. That was wild.
You know what he was doing? They said he was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
All the things that he said he was doing, he was for real doing.
But when Ebro posted that, I left a comment on there because he had just put skull emojis. I'm no. That's the best caption you could come up with for this tyranny. Nah, you got to be really, really direct. When I see individuals out here talking about we got to love R. Kelly and we got to, we can't judge.
So you
and
didn't what
by individuals, you mean Erykah
hell
Badu?
no. No, but she's also not the only one saying that. Because there were plenty of people in that audience who were you guys heard something different than what she said. No. When you're vague and you're not calling him what he is, if you're even saying
Isn't that a Christian thing, though? Because I don't know if everybody's Christian, but that whole love your enemies and forgive people. You think about when in Charleston, South Carolina, when Dylan Roof that devil killed all those people in the church. They was like, oh, we forgive him. You got to pray for him. Don't you think that's kind of what that is?
I think the thing that we have to acknowledge, though, is that forgiveness should not excuse accountability.
True indeed.
So even if you decide, like, I forgive him, that doesn't mean that he should not be held accountable for his actions.
Correct.
Severely. Like, and almost basically in a Machiavellian way at this point. Like, you out here doing all that, you need to feel it.
I agree with you.
Now, to switch gears for a second, one thing I want to say as a black woman that I love about your special is that you really show how women can be sexual but still be intelligent. Sometimes people feel like those two things can't
Oh, honey, there's
live
a
together.
Hotep. There is a Hotep Notep out here who has a whole video.
what?
I call them Hotep Noteps.
Okay, no tap, no tap.
Who has a video on YouTube about how I am not sexually attractive.
Who, you?
Correct.
What?
I appreciate your surprise because, yes. How I am not sexually attractive because I have opinions. And
Wow.
well, no, actually, no. Let me correct
That's
that.
a dude or a chick? What's the name?
It's a dude. And the videos, first he starts this thesis about that I'm just not physically attractive. Like, let's just address the facts. Like, Amanda Seales looks like a man. She's not
What?
physically attractive.
Not true.
Like,
None of
He's
this is
insecure.
true.
He's hurt.
all of this.
None of this is true.
He's
He's
hurt.
another individual that y'all know. I think you may have even had him up here before.
Oh,
And
God. And I have to say,
and
just before you
what?
finish, I was watching your special. Like, Amanda looks so beautiful on the special.
hell was that?
Everything, your makeup, your
Who was the
hair, your
person?
outfit.
Write it down.
I'm not gonna give him no burn.
Okay.
But he, and I appreciate you saying that because I think also like comedic women are expected to like be in a hoodie, you know, and like, oh, you're distracting from the jokes if you are attractive. And that's stupid. So, but that was something that was so wild because at the end of the video, it really came out like she just always be talking. It's like, oh, that's
your job.
what it is. You mad because I am saying something that is counter to what you're saying, and that makes your dick soft.
But even talking about sex too, like sometimes people have a problem with that. Like I have my lip service podcast. People will act like, "Oh, you talk about sex," and it, like,
Are we not having sex?
I mean, I think that's crazy that you can be both. You can be smart, you can be funny, you can be black.
1,000%.
And
You're
you can also
human. Humans
be
are
sexual.
complex
You're
creatures.
multifaceted.
Yes.
I mean, like, I'll have 2 shows at the Improv in one night. The first show, I might be talking about, you know, the Middle Passage and discussing, you know, fiscal responsibilities. And the next show, I'm talking about
how we responsible hoes.
how we are responsible hoes.
Yes.
Yes. So I feel like that's just a part of the whole buildup of a human. And so many people are lying to themselves about that. So many people want to suppress that
I
sexuality.
don't see it. I said, who said Amanda Seales is ugly? And I don't see it. I've out and Googled it.
Just put Hotep
Let's just
Notep
let me
and see
say
if that
something.
comes up.
Amanda be out here pulling these guys from back in the day, even when we wasn't wearing makeup or really doing our hair or getting dressed up. Okay, you should see the guys that used to be like, "Yo, what's up with Amanda?"
Listen, my
when she was
roster,
Amanda Diva.
my roster is serious. Like aesthetically, my roster is serious. At this point, I'm not really pressed about aesthetics. I'm about moderation. I want you moderately fine, moderately rich, moderately intellectual. I don't need you to have 3 degrees. What I've realized is that I've dated extremes. They either hella hood or hella smart, and that both of those create hella ego. And that hella ego cannot exist with someone like myself. And not because I've got opinions, but because I'm free. You know? And so that ego, they can't manage the freedom because they want to control. They want to dominate.
But I love the opinions. See, that's why we love you so much. Because we know if something goes around that's fucked up, we gonna hear from you, good, bad, or indifferent.
no, that's why even
But
like-
that's the great thing about you. You don't get a lot of women that do that. A lot of women are too scared to talk.
Not
Or-
nowadays.
come on.
But that's
you got-
what I'm
this
trying
is
to
the-
encourage.
This is the era of Amanda
No,
Seales,
but
Angela
she's been like
Rye.
this from the start. That's what I'm trying to say.
That is true.
She's been like
No,
from
that is
day
true.
one.
That is true.
When it wasn't cool, she was in offices like, nah, that's not right.
That is a fact.
And that's what I respect.
That is a
Talk about
fact.
some. I don't mess with him. I
Absolutely.
don't mess with him. Oh, he got me up.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
from the
I've
start.
seen that.
Now, but the Cardi and Offset thing, right? Because I think this is a teachable moment. Because when I saw the situation on social media, I didn't comment on it. I saw the reaction, and people were like, "Oh, this is wrong. You know, he's invading our space." And I'm like, "Really?" So I'm like, "Yo, Seals, you know, like that's what I do. Let me call one of my homegirls so I can learn because I may have been taught wrong. Because to me, I just look like a brother trying to get his girl back."
Yeah, but that is what you were saying, but in the worst way Like, I mean, I think that, first of all, let me just say this. I don't know the inner workings of their relationship. I don't know either of them personally. But I think that when we see stuff like that, it is an opportunity for us to use something that's happening in the zeitgeist as a way to reflect upon our own situations. You know, centuries ago, we called them allegory. You know, they were allegorical tales. They're everyman. It's a scenario that everyone can relate to. And for that situation, it becomes toxic when the person who has brought the toxicity to the scenario wants to control the scenario. That's the reality. That's the most simplest way I can put it. You knew what you needed to do to keep shit cool. Then you didn't do it. You don't get to control my reaction to it.
All right.
That's the truth. That's the absolute truth. But
You have to sit down.
that's the truth.
There's no but.
There's a but.
No, you got to sit
No,
down.
no,
You got to
What's
fall
interesting
back.
That is true.
is people weighing in.
There's a
'cause
way to fight.
You're
Yeah.
right.
There's a way to fight.
You're
And that's the
absolutely
thing. There's a way to fight for your relationship. The first way to fight for your relationship is to not fuck up your relationship.
That is true.
Keep your dick in your pants.
That's the
true.
first
Yes.
way to fight. Because a lot of people determine fighting for their relationship as fighting for forgiveness.
Correct.
And it's like, we didn't need to go there. You know, like, don't fight to get me back. Fight to keep me.
Word.
Correct.
So there's that, because then you start that cat and mouse crap. And a lot of women get tricked into thinking, well, look how bad he wants me. If he wanted you, he wouldn't have even put you in the situation to have to try and wrangle you back into the scenario. But I think I've had dudes that went left and are trying to get me back. And there's a way you do it. And basically you acknowledge, like, okay, so here's where I fucked up. And I'm going to be sitting over here. And, you know, I hope that I get the opportunity to demonstrate, like, my not fucking up no more.
But I am sure in that situation, Offset was probably trying to call Cardi and she wasn't answering
She
the
wasn't
phone.
ready.
Right.
He doesn't get to determine when she's ready.
You're absolutely right. But at that point, he was desperate. And he was like, this is me trying to hit a home run.
Talk
So
to a
what?
friend.
I think
Word up.
patience is
Your
important.
desperation ain't got shit to do with the reality of the situation.
Now, man,
and your
there's somebody-
desperation is about your ego.
One of
Your
these
desperation is
guys-
like,
But
If one of these guys that messed up on you came to one of your shows and interrupted the show
that has
while you were on
happened.
stage,
That has happened.
so what was that
Sat
like?
in the front row. Sat in the front row while I'm performing. It throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
As a performer, that shit is mad disrespectful.
you're right.
That shit is mad disrespectful. And as someone who is also a
But
performer,
it worked somehow.
Why do you
because
keep
they
butting?
backed.
Shut up
They work-
and
they
learn
back.
something.
no, because I don't know the inner workings of the scenario.
Right.
Like, they might be back for reasons that we don't know. I'm just
True.
talking in relation to myself, in relation to just what a healthy
Advice
exchange
for
is.
guys in the future. If you
Yes.
don't try this yourself.
And people will tell me, like, oh, Amanda, you know, like, why y'all listen to her? She's single. I'm single because, honestly, we live in a society that is so riddled with toxic behavior that most of us who are single because we decided that we don't want to be a party to that. And you got to wait till someone comes around that also is not interested in being a party to that. And if you want to break patriarchy at this point, you got to be intellectual and you got to be brave. And that's just not taught on a daily basis.
And you got to be willing to unlearn all the bullshit that you've learned.
That's brave.
Yeah.
You got to be brave to risk, like, okay, I'm gonna look stupid for a little bit.
Yeah.
No one wants to do that. I always, you know, people be in my comments. Whenever they're in my comments in a negative way, it's about two things. One, you know, you ain't really black. Two, why are you friends with Charlamagne? Those are the two things that every day, you out here doing specials, but you think Charlamagne is special. Like, they would come with,
He's definitely special.
and you know, it's like they'll come with their idea of like what they think is the facts, and whatever. Like, I know what I understand to be the facts, but I also feel like, I feel like we've talked about this before, like, cancel culture is a real thing, but redemption culture, I feel like, should also be a real thing. And you have to allow people to demonstrate to you that they are willing to change. And I think that's the part where we take people back too quick. You know, I told you the other day, you made me cry like at least twice without knowing. He was like, my bad.
I said I apologize.
You did say I apologize. You did.
Why make you cry?
Because he was a dick.
Oh.
Because he was a dick. And he used to really just say shit. Why y'all laughing? Because you're like,
Because I had to
I
tell
remember.
him that he was a dick
Because they've been
as
working
well.
with me for 9 years.
You used to, I mean, because
Tell
you
him
used
as well.
to, and this is the thing, like, and a lot of folks are like this, like, they have their own insecurities, so that gets deflected onto you, and they'll say shit to you that is just not necessary to be said, but they'll see the insecurity in you, and then pull it, and then
What was Charlamagne's insecurities?
Charlamagne's. You tell me. I don't know what your insecurities were.
Besides small
But
penis.
But you saw my
Besides
insecurities.
what?
No,
What did you say?
Wow. Well, you know the size Envy likes.
I never saw no insecurities in you.
You literally saw that I was so like, for instance, when we were doing hip hop POV, and I was talking about like wanting a man and how like it just wasn't turning, it wasn't working out. Most people would have been like, it'll work out. Or
You'll find the right
you'll
guy.
find the right guy.
You'd
What
rather,
Charlamagne
you'd
said.
rather
Brother-
be single than with a
My
terrible
brother
partner.
right here across the table over breadsticks and Alfredo sauce at Olive Garden was like, nah, you ain't gonna get no man. Nah.
That sounds like him.
You ain't gonna get no man because you got too many opinions. But that's why you was cool with them Hotep niggas. And I'm glad to see that has since ceased. But, you know, that was your shit.
Who was the niggas he cool? Let me go back to Google.
Pen. Like, he definitely, I remember, I could tell you the trajectory of the light in the room at the time.
Listen,
I was definitely like, you know, that's.
Listen, I was a fucked up person.
I know, but you were fucked up inside.
Yes.
But
He still is a little
Yeah.
bit.
everybody is.
But you got to do the work, though.
But you got to do the work, and it takes time. It's not an overnight process. But I feel like when you see people committing to the process, you don't got to be in the game with them, but it's at least worth being an encouraging force.
Yeah.
And you can do that from a distance as well, too. And I think that's something that a lot of women, we make the mistake of. Like, we will absolutely like jeopardize our own self-care for the upliftment of someone else's self-care. And a lot of times, like, then what ends up happening is resentment. Then what ends up happening is they leave your ass for a white girl.
Right.
Like, all that shit happens. And we're left there like, damn, I invested so much in this person. You can invest in someone without going
Losing
broke.
yourself. Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right.
you know,
Do
so.
are you ever concerned that your like opinions just on like racial issues or anything will ever affect your career? Oh.
Oh my goodness.
At this point, only in a positive way.
Word.
At this point, I mean, I feel like for all intents and purposes, I've been fortunate enough to have doubled down.
By the way, that's Thanos for all the woke woman Avengers, by the way. That's Thanos.
He is.
I knew it though. I had a feeling like, you know when you got a feeling, I was like, I got a feeling. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
We disagree a lot, though.
So
so shut the
Oh,
fuck
No,
up.
we do.
that guy's trash. So no, I don't think so. I think at this point, my work as a creative, especially in Hollywood, is rooted in the fact that I am so ardent and so educated on my thoughts on African American culture and womanhood, etc. And if it all ended today, I could still paint. So I'll be fine.
There we go. She be knowing.
Are you emotional? I got two more questions. Are you emotionally connected to the character of Tiffany Dubois on Insecure?
I've never been asked that. Am I emotionally connected to the character of Tiffany Dubois? No. I don't know if that's the type of actor I am, actually. I mean, I haven't been put in that position yet, but a lot of actors, I think also there's something to be said for the fact that I'm a comedian who acts versus just an actor, because I feel like there's always a certain space, a certain airlock, you know, between me and a character, to my detriment sometimes. But for Tiffany, I think that I just know Tiffany. So I don't need to become her to be her. So I don't feel emotionally connected to her. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. We don't know anything about the new season, but, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be having a baby on set, you know, what that's going to be like. And
But your character was pregnant, though, so.
yeah, but I don't know, you know, we don't know like timeline how they're
She'll
going to
pop
do
up
it.
with the
Like
baby
they
later.
could time jump 4 years and now I have a 4-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they might be like, it's easier in the budget to have a 4-year-old than a newborn. You know what I mean? Like, so you just never really know. But I've never got there. But I love Tiffany in a way now that I didn't before.
I find it very funny.
She is, and she's subtle. And I
Yeah.
think I was scared of that in the beginning. I was scared that subtle would still be funny. And I think that in the beginning, I felt like, damn, she don't really be having like jokes like that, you know? But then it turns out like her subtlety is
Yes.
actually like that's where the humor lies. And on the Coachella episode, I feel like I really got to stretch and kind of show a lot of.
That's when it's the best. I'm telling you, Insecure is the best when all four of y'all are on the screen on some living single girlfriend shit.
I feel the same way. And I feel like there's a lot of women who watch the show and look for themselves in that group dynamic. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting. And I'm at a time in my life where like I'm in that group dynamic. I know a lot of us have friends who are freezing eggs and, you know, making decisions. I mean, honestly, like the private screening for my special is a wedding reception. Because this is my wedding. I mean, I have a registry. I'll send you the link. Yeah, like this is my wedding. I mean, I'm 37. I'm going to be 38 this year. We have milestones at this point that are not related to a man. I mean, that's just what it is. And it's not to say that those milestones are any less or any diminished, but I don't have a man on the horizon. Do I?
I get a lot of
And
dudes
I
that
don't have-
be trying to be like, yo, holla at Amanda for me. I'm like,
Not
no.
guys he knows. Don't do
I was
that.
going to
Yeah,
say, no.
None of them.
I would never do that.
I know.
I
Because
know they're out of your league.
No, she's out of their
She's
league.
out
That's
of
what I
their
mean.
league.
Yeah, I know you're out of their league. I know what I meant. Same thing.
I knew what you meant.
They're out of
I
your
know what you
league.
meant.
Like, yo,
They are
she's
not.
league.
They're out of it.
Yes.
We knew what you
No, I knew what you meant. I mean, I feel like we have to determine our milestones. For some people, their milestones like I bought a house,
Right.
You know, or I paid off my mother's house, or you know, I started this business. You know, that's the life turning point. This is my life turning point. Committing myself to being a comedic voice for change is my life's turning point, and being able to do it on this level of a stage for you all to watch and hopefully enjoy is something I've never done before. Y'all know me. I've created a lot of stuff. And I've never had the opportunity to present it in this big of a way. And it is, so you asked earlier if I'm happy. It's more, I'm more so like shocked. Like, I'm just like,
It hasn't
Wow,
set
shocking
in
it's
yet?
finally happening.
yeah, it's very surreal. It's a very, it's like I've been in an out of body experience for the past like 3 weeks.
You know, it's interesting you said that because it's surreal to watch. Like, honestly, like when you, like, it's different when you know somebody and you're watching them.
It's different.
Yeah.
Imagine being that somebody.
Yeah.
And we've been in a business where we are the ones reporting on people that this is happening to.
Yes.
So I've been the one on, you know,
Right.
acknowledging it happening to somebody else. So for it to be like me is just like, what are we doing?
But we've been telling you it's going to happen.
I know.
It's not like, you know, we've been telling you.
You've been saying, you and Van Lathan. Let me tell y'all, my biggest cheerleaders are Leonard and Van. They be in my text like, get him, champ. Get him, champ.
Well, we're proud of you. We happy for you.
Yes.
Will you be watching with everybody at home on
Can't wait to
Saturday
see
Oh, I
night?
can't wait.
Yeah, we are having a screening. I'm having a private screening, and with my peoples and with Stan and Jesse and Dion, my mom, I brought her out there, and I'm wearing my, you know, shout out to the designer of my outfit, Sharufa, with her company Official Janaki, her line Official Janaki, because that is a custom outfit, and we will be coming out shortly with a line for you all. So
Hey.
there's that, and we're also going to be doing a drop that night of merch, so you'll be able to
Nice.
get your own I Be Knowin merch. We got these already.
Not today, not the one.
Not the one. Niggas got me.
So that's the
fucked up.
wedding Saturday.
The wedding is Saturday. Oh my
Saturday
God!
at 10 p.m.
Congratulations.
Something blue.
HBO.
Something blue.
I think it's only
Something
appropriate
old,
that we
something new.
close with the Black National Anthem since you need to know this by Saturday night
That's
at 10
right.
p.m.
Yes.
Would you like to lead us? We'll try to keep
We
up.
will try to keep
We
up.
know 3 lines.
Who lift
Lift
every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Double clap,
Hey.
let our rejoicing
Oh my God, this is
rise high as the listening skies. Let it clap on beat as the rolling
Hey, you
sea.
sound like my wife at the special. You off beat.
It doesn't stop there.
Sing a song
Full of the faith that the dark path
He is
has
reading it.
taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that
Y'all should have let Amanda do it alone.
Begun. Let us march on, skirt, till victory is won.
Yes.
Don't worry, by Saturday we'll have it.
See, I didn't even look it up. See, I
I just want to say,
10 p.m.
their singing was
HBO.
offensive to me. Amanda sounded great. Y'all singing was offensive.
Well, that's why I said lead.
right. He was like, we in the back. We the ushers. We ain't even in the choir.
Seals, Saturday, 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining
I'll
us.
be Knowin on HBO.
Thank y'all for
Right.
having me. Follow me on Instagram, Amanda Seals. Listen to my podcast, Small Doses. Check out smartfunnyandblack.com and look out for merch dropping.
Say something slick and get blocked.
Blocked and blessed.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.